Sailing into Wellness is a not-for-profit charity and social enterprise that offers therapeutic programs based on the sea. My name is Tess Kingston and I am a counsellor and psychotherapist as well as an outdoor instructor. I've been with Sailing into Wellness nearly since the start. I was always very keen in adventure therapy type programs, and sailing was a main one of my outdoor activities, so it's been a perfect combination. A lot of my work is on the water with groups and also in the background organising staff training, organising some of the operations and the logistics and whatever's needed.
Hi, my name is Leonie. I am a senior instructor and a program facilitator at Sailing into Wellness. Most of my role is on the water, which is where I love socialising and integrating with the participants. I also help a lot with our background work, our emails, our logistics. As we are a national company, we travel all over the country, so that does have a lot of boats travelling, a lot of logistics, and that's where I've started to help out.
Sailing into Wellness originally started in the addiction recovery field, but it quickly expanded to provide services for a range of groups in need. At the moment, our services connect with groups from addiction recovery to mental health to not in education and employment. We work with the criminal justice system. We work with non-nationals like immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers. We work with a wide population of marginalised communities, for example, the travelling community, and we also have programs for people with disabilities. We have a strong autism program with Sailing. The way Sailing into Wellness works is we provide sailing as a platform for personal, community, social, physical well-being, and we pair with pre-established support groups. So they come and they're on a wider journey of their recovery, for example, and they join us for our program, and they can work on whatever suits them. The programs are person-centered, so they're tailored towards what they need, whether it's the experience and getting the headspace, or whether it's they're coming with some specific goals to work on. Most groups come with a group leader or a care worker that they're already doing the work with in the background, so we can work alongside them to make a program that suits the participants.
So at Sailing into Wellness, we have three main programs. We have our foundation program, our voyage program, and our progression program. We start off with our foundation program. We usually go out on smaller boats and we'd meet once a week for 4 weeks. So during the foundation program, we focus a lot on just building trust with each other and with the group and just building rapport. One of the most things we focus on is just them engaging with us and having fun and having a break from their life, just relaxing. The joy of the smaller boats is that you feel everything a little bit more, you catch the wind a little bit more, it's a bit more adventurous. So it's really nice to start off like that, and then we build on and go on to the bigger boats. And it gives a basic understanding of the fundamentals of sailing. We really focus on personal development, building on those life skills, and just connecting with each other. Our next step in our programs is our voyage. This is where we build on what we learned in the foundation program. We build up in boat size, and we build up in what we ask of the participants and what they can get from the program. We would usually head away for about 3 days. We pack our bags, we pack our food, fill the boat full of water, and we're gone. It's like a little bubble when you're out there. People really engage with each other, and when you're in that bubble, trust just builds really easily, and the sailing skills come in afterwards. But it's just this kind of magical little space where everyone starts to trust and learn from each other and engage with each other and gets to relax as well and escape a little bit from what's going on, leave everything on shore. Part of our personal development on the voyage programs is that people have agency over what we're doing. We give them the skills and the knowledge, and then they decide what the voyage is going to look like, where they want to anchor, what they want to do, how far they want to go, what's best for the group. So they're learning empathy for the other group members, as well as making decisions for themselves. In sailing, it can be a challenging environment, but it's a safe environment. So we're always pushing that kind of comfort zone. So this is where a lot of our participants engage with learning resilience. and learning their own abilities.
Yeah.
A lot of people come back with feedback like, I never thought I could do this. The progression program is not our last step, but it's kind of our new step, where people just want more, they want to engage more. So we've decided to start bringing in new skills. So people start to come back and they might start getting their powerboat license or their sailing license or their competent crew. But what is different is when we run these courses, we allow maybe extra time, smaller ratios, just to be a bit more inclusive and just engage more with the participants of where they're at, rather than them trying to engage with somewhere else where people aren't aware of where they're at. So at the end of the progression program, everyone will walk out with a qualification or a cert, which just gives employment opportunities. We've actually had one participant who has come all the way up. He was so engaged with everything, and he's now an instructor on our team, which is really nice. It gives a lot to peer-and-peer teaching as well. So it just creates more job opportunities.
What's really important about our programs is that they are community based and they really do rely on the people first. So we like to hear from our participants what they get from the program and not make assumptions that our sailing program can provide X, Y, and Z. So the continual reports show a few common themes that we kind of categorize into the personal development side, the social or community development side, there's the bit of physical well-being, and finally there's that education piece where people actually can engage with skills or get pathways to other education. So in the personal development side, the participants themselves really commonly feedback that one of the most powerful parts is the headspace, just that peace of getting out on the water, leaving everything behind for a while and just getting that. To me, it talks a lot about that, like mindfulness or meditation practice that can be really hard for people to engage with if they're coming from a background that is very stress-based or in survival mode a lot. So sailing allows them to access that. Another personal development thing that's very commonly fed back is their belief in themselves. So just being able to achieve that skill, being trusted with things, and just blowing themselves away with the fact that they can do stuff. Simple as. Another very common personal development one is related to that is about the resilience and the coping with stressful situations, because it is a dynamic environment. There is changes, it's unpredictable, but people then being able to manage that can be huge for them to see. So we have a lot of people overcoming fears of water, overcoming social anxiety, things like that. Along the social side of things, there is a huge element of teamwork needed on the boat. So you have to have each other's back. You have to communicate, you have to take instruction, and you have to give instruction. So the situation is helping people find their own voice because they just have to. We're not back in an office talking about how communication is good. They are playing it out because they want to, and they see the benefit and they see the need. And the hope with any of these skills is that then, with facilitated debriefs, they can see how they can map these back onto their everyday lives. So it happens organically on the boat, it feels natural, situations come up within the group and within the environment, and then we do a little bit of check-in on where is this in your everyday life, where can you engage this skill again. Along the physical side that people report, there's a lot on just sleeping so good after the day out, and that itself could be enough for a lot of our people. There's a lot about just the physical regulation of feeling the waves and that vestibular, that interoceptive sense, or just tuning into those senses, as well as a bit of physical activity. You are active on the boat, you're using muscles and micro muscles to balance, and we all know that's just good to have an excuse to move the body and get a bit of stress out. The final is the education piece, and that's where we find this is a fun place to learn, and it's very accessible. So it's a lot of practical and kinesthetic learning. It's learning with a reason. And when we do bring theory elements in, like the weather, the navigation, the tide, it has an immediate consequence and application. So it's very real for our participants. So then being able to engage with this learning and actually tick off skills helps them see what they could achieve if they were to go back to education or to go on and go to a employment opportunity and just build themselves back up to getting into employment or education, and just having those skills of organizing themselves and learning again. So they're the main areas we see. I probably haven't caught them all, but that's the feedback we're getting from the participants. And the last bit to add, I suppose, is the feedback from their group leaders or the people working with them long term. So we hear a lot about how, oh, I can't believe that that person acted like that, or they're so relaxed, or that they showed up every day. And part of it is just that this is fun and engaging, and it's hopefully an accessible way for them to access what they need, whether it's education, a therapeutic experience, a break, physical activity. But it's good to hear from the leaders as well, who know their longer journeys. An important point to note is our approach to all this work. There's a variety of ways that you can engage with the populations we engage with, and there's a variety of ways you could offer sailing as a wellness platform. And we want to be able to keep that nice and broad. So first and foremost, our programs are experiential, they're person-centered, and they're strengths-based. So there's a lot of focus on the simple things, the creating a positive environment, rapport building is huge, and having a nice experience. If that's what we achieve on our programs, that already is huge, especially for a lot of the people coming in. So it's very important that they are client-led, that the person can deviate where it goes and what they need, and that we have the capacity to tune into where they're at and either heighten the pace or slow it down. Our programs are kind of like a spectrum, so some of our groups are very much at the experience stage, so the fact that they're coming in and engaging and trying something new is huge for where they're at in their everyday life. And the scale comes all the way up, and at the top of the spectrum it would be where we engage with groups that are on quite an intensive recovery journey or in very specific mental health support, and they would be used to engaging with certain interventions, and that's where we might apply or adapt some lighter interventions that have been agreed or that are appropriate with the group leader. So one example would be some addiction recovery groups that are in residentials and perhaps in recovery for quite a while, 6 months, a year, maybe they're in aftercare, so they're used to doing group, they're used to trusting the group they come with, they're used to a format of setting goals for themselves, reflecting and sharing. And in this case, we bring in the community reinforcement approach, CRA. It's a kind of pro-social behaviours type approach that's used within the addiction recovery world. So they're used to it, and we can apply it to what they experienced on the sailing, what's going well for them, setting goals, setting strategic plans to achieve those goals, where there might be a weakness that they need to work on, how can they work on it, and that's appropriate with them because they're used to that format and we apply it to us. And it's important to note that there's groups we take out that wouldn't be appropriate for, and they aren't asking for that level of intervention. Where we have another few specialised areas might be, I guess, training the staff to be able to meet and work with our variety of groups. So again, what's most important is that you're human and that you're empathetic and that you're facilitating a safe environment, but then it's helpful for our staff to understand the different cohorts. So we have engaged in autism awareness training to understand that, and a few of our teams would be experts in that and leading that, and a few then are learning more about it. Then we would have some of the mental health groups and just understanding again where they're coming from. And I suppose one of the most important trainings we've done with our staff is the trauma-informed care training, because that maps across all of the groups and helps us understand what our person is coming with, why a certain reaction might have happened, how we can hold space for that, what our role is in that and what our role isn't, and then how we can also keep ourselves safe and maybe offload after and where to go with that. So there's a couple of different avenues in training that are helpful in this work, but for us that's a baseline, trauma-informed care and the kind of CPDs upskilling on each little section, and then if there's a specialised programme, it's decided with that group leader or cohort and we engage with their system.
At Sailing into Wellness, our team is made up at about 10 people. Half of that is full-time and half of that is freelance. A lot of their backgrounds and everyone's coming from different areas. Some of our staff are experts by experience, some of our staff are experts by training. What we cherish in our team is the importance of who they are and how they connect with people. We have a really broad team with a range of backgrounds, and everyone's coming with their own individual experience, which is where we really connect with our participants.
On the logistics side, Sailing into Wellness is now a national programme. It actually always was, really. We're most of us based in Cork, but we move. We have a mobile unit. We move with our boats around the country and offer our services in different areas of need. And then we also move with the island ship, which will be delivering the programmes, kind of following the foundation programme. So last year we worked in 9 locations. This year slightly less, but basically we're a national organisation.
Something with a bit more nutrition than the cheaper stuff, but...
Come on.